Hello there, my name's Vinny Voodoo, and as you can clearly see, Warzone has gone Christmassy, so Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, Festivus, whatever it is you celebrate, or nothing at all, and best of the season to you. Stay safe out there and all that. The reason for this video is, firstly, I've got an inkling. Someone posted in the comments of a previous video that I did that there is a high-res texture pack 2 out. I'd love to see it. I can't find how to download it for the PS4. It may be PC only. I'll show a snapshot of a Reddit pic that I found. It seems to exist. That looks like a PlayStation screen in the background, but it may not be. Yeah, very excited to see that. And that brings me on to my first problem. I recently played Cold War multiplayer because there's a free access week going on over Christmas, and I downloaded that. I'm not going to really talk about that game itself. I haven't really spent enough time with it to get used to it, but one thing I did notice was the operators in that were considerably more detailed than the equivalent operators in Warzone, and I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to show you a clip right now. This is from Cold War, where he's got bluer jeans, and we're talking about the old Adler fella. If you look at the patches, the pockets on the back of his jeans, compare them to this guy, and you may think, well, they look exactly the same. It may not show as well in the YouTube compression video, but in Cold War I can't do this, but I can in Warzone. I can zoom in on his mighty fine arse and look at how bad that texture is. I mean, that's the JPEG compression there is pretty awful. And at first I thought it hadn't come in yet, because I've noticed texture pop-up is a new thing now, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But that's pretty bad. It's not only on his jeans though, it's the texture on the actual canvas has gone. Only on this character, by the way. The leather on his tool belt is just low-res rubbish. Look at the rivets on that. That's just unacceptably bad. But again, it looks better in Cold War. And I think there's a problem here with regards to integrating meshes, textures, and code from a different developer. And it's kind of crept in to Warzone. And one thing I'm seeing huge amounts of is texture pop in Warzone. And I'll show some clips over the top of this as I'm talking. And it wasn't there originally. It's got nothing to do with the texture pack that I downloaded previously. This has only happened after Season 1 of the game started. Now, I'm playing on a PlayStation 4 Pro. As far as I know, all of these textures are on my machine. But I did notice the same thing whilst playing multiplayer in Cold War. So has the engine changed? I don't know, but it's kind of unacceptable. When I was playing Cold War, if you saw a replay from a different part of the map, sometimes the guy wouldn't be holding a gun for a few seconds. It'd just be his hands, and then slowly the gun would pop in. I've never seen that on a multiplayer game, and it's certainly not going to entice me to spend £60 on the game. I can't complain as much with Warzone because I haven't paid for it. Although I can, because it didn't used to do it. So this has infected the game somewhat. But the rest of the guys look fantastic. But I can show you the texture pop-in problem here. If I go to a character I haven't been to before, say the guy in sunglasses 4 along now, watch his shirt change from white to striped. Boom. That's just unacceptable. It didn't used to do this. I have a particularly long video of texture. This guy's ghillie suit 2 along. Oh, hang on, I'm using the wrong one. You see how it kind of built up? It's subtle, but it's there. Let's back out a little, see if I can get it to do it. Once it's cached in, I think it's okay. No, it's still doing it. Let's back out of that. It's okay once it's in there. But he's got particularly good textures. There was one guy, and you could read the numbering on his grenade. So I'm not going to harp on about the texture pack, but more the fact that there's this load of textures that didn't exist before, and that's unfortunate. But moving on, should I get the high-res texture pack? If you know how to get it, the texture pack 2, please post it in the comments. I will definitely do a comparison video. I've still got all the original footage from before the first texture pack, so we'll go from there. There are a lot of new structures and geometry in Warzone, and I'll overlay some pics now and shots of it. I really like that. They may contribute to the texture problem, but it's really nice to see that they're actually subtly updating the map to give it a more immersive feel, you know, that's excellent. Now, moving on to the idea that you're doubling up on weapons. I'm not a fan of this, and even though I can see why they've done it, having played Cold War now, I wouldn't want to go through, say, for example, I'll just throw away custom, the XM4 in Modern Warfare, and then go through it in Warzone. I wouldn't want to go through it in Cold War, Modern Warfare, and Warzone all separately. But you kind of have to do that with the two different, you know, if you've got two of the same, for example, there's two AK-47s, and they are different. You may think, well, they're just, you know, it's a blueprint. It's not. if I go to my AK here, and if you look down the bottom now, I'm going to select that as a weapon and then go back and select it. If you look down the bottom middle where all your stats are, you'll notice they're all grey. And just above it, very tiny lettering, it says stats compared to AK-47. I'm comparing it to itself. But that's the baseline of that gun with no attachments. Level 1, never used it. But if you go to the baseline of the same gun from Cold War, you'll see that stats are different. That's again no attachments. Now granted, I have gone through to the max level on that gun, but that doesn't affect its base stats. Only attachments affects its base stats. So the two AKs are different. Whether one is better than the other is, you know, up for grabs. Of course, the other problem is not really a problem, but it's a difference. Is the attachments are different. The first optic on the Black Ops version of the AK is called Millstop Reflex, and the one on the Modern Warfare is called what would it be? Let's have a guess. I'm going to say, where is it? Did I select it? No, I didn't. I'm an idiot. Right, let's go find it. Right, Armory. No, not Armory. That's Blueprints. I might cut this bit out. Right, select it. Gunsmith. The optic, so it's not Millstop, it's Operator Reflex. And it is a different one, it's not just a different name, it's clearly a better tech. So the guns do have different attachments as well. On a side note, I'd just like to address, you know, when you're looking at your weapon now, they've put this horrible green filter over any weapons that are Modern Warfare. You can see it there. And it's just a filter over the top, it's not a background change. And it looks terrible on certain TVs. It looks, you can see the bloom and the compression there, even on that. And if you select a Cold War gun, it's a red filter. And you can actually see the background change, the table change there. I don't know why they've done that. I can see the words Black Ops next to the gun. I know that's a Black Ops gun. I don't need that filter change. And when you go to Gunsmith and preview the weapon, it just looks terrible. But interestingly, so the looking at a weapon in Warzone is considerably better than looking at a weapon in Cold War. Just the smoothness at which it rotates, and you can have a good look at it and stuff like that. There's a clip of Cold War and how jerky and it is. And this again comes down to the idea that there's two entirely different companies, not even teams, but companies working on similar tech. They have different ways of doing things, different thought processes, and they're trying to assimilate and homogenize it into one user experience, and it kind of fails at times. I'm not a big fan of the idea at this moment in time of losing all of the ribbons that I had. You know, I can't even go back and see them. They may patch that back in. And now we have Prestige. Now, the way I think this is going to work, and anyone who's Prestige can please correct me if I'm wrong here, I'm level 31 currently, and at level 31 I unlocked the Origin 12 shotgun, for example. If I Prestige, that weapon will remain unchanged, but relocked until I get to level 31 again on the next Prestige. Is that how it's going to work? Because I'm not going to Prestige if that's the case. The bonuses from Prestiging, at least on the first Prestige, are calling cards, and no one cares. You'll get them for free at some point anyway. Now maybe later on I know there's a blueprint there for a green machine if you get the full roster, and it's kind of like it's not enough for me to lock away perks and guns that I've spent a lot of time earning. I understand they won't reset. It's not like they're going to go back to level 1. At least I don't think they will. Again, I've not done it. But yeah, that's not a big plus for me. I think, you know, the problem I have with this is Warzone a method of getting you to buy Cold War, or is Cold War a method of getting you into Warzone? Because they're not a seamless transition. If I'm playing Cold War, I honestly thought I'd jump to Warzone in the menu system and be playing Cold War. Warzone, and you're not. It shuts down Cold War and it opens Warzone. Well, I can do that. It doesn't need to be this singular umbrella thing. And what's going to happen next year when they bring out another Call of Duty? What if it's set in World War II or something like that? That, you know, obviously you could possibly have an AK-47, but you're not going to have some of these assault rifles. And they're going to have in the Battle Pass. There's 2 slides for certain things, like on that one that I just got. If I'm playing Black Ops, that adds a skin to a, what is that, jet ski or something like that? Or a skin to the quad bike. Is there going to be a 3rd one and a 4th one and a 5th one as they bring in these out? I guess my point is, leave Warzone alone. Treat it as a separate entity. Treat it like Fortnite. Have it be influenced by Cold War, a couple of operators come in and so forth. But just the engine change, which seems to have happened, at least in terms of the texture delivery and the streaming, is broken the game a little. Not game-breaking but certainly visually it's not as good as it used to be, because of the immersiveness that is lost when a texture suddenly goes bang, have a new texture, you bastard. Been looking at that shitty texture for too long now. It just feels like they're taking backward steps more than they're taking forward steps. So anyway, point of this video was to highlight some of the things that I've noticed and hopefully request anyone who knows where the Texture Pack 2 is and how to get it on the PlayStation 4. I've mentioned this before, but you can't manage packs and stuff like that within the menu of Warzone, which I believe you can in Modern Warfare. But I still have the texture pack installed, and I've shown how to do that in the previous video, which I'll link to in the description. So that's it for now. My name's Vinny Voodoo. Excited to see what comes in the new year, and I will speak to you soon.